Justice Department to review the police response to the Uvalde shooting because goddamn somebody needs to. The Department of Justice will conduct a review of local law enforcement's response to the Uvalde mass shooting last week that killed 19 children and 2 adults, it announced on Sunday. Local and state law enforcement officials have faced intense criticism for their response to the shooting. As details and a fuller timeline of events have emerged, 911 calls were made between 12:03 p.m., half an hour after the gunman entered the school, and around 12:50 p.m. when Border Patrol agents and police finally stormed in and shot him dead. Questions remain as to why officials didn't come clean sooner. Because they're trying to cover their own asses. Never believe anything the fucking cops said. I'm hoping that this is finally a turning point for sensible gun laws in this country and also the way we perceive cops. It finally seems like people are coming around and noticing that cops are fucking useless. I've only been saying it for years. I've only been saying never believe anything the fucking cops tell you. They lie even when they have no reason to lie. I've been saying it for years. ACAB motherfuckers. God damn. Alphonisberg. What is up, Alphonisberg? Welcome. Thank you for being a freaking follower. You came as I got a little riled up about the cops. The goal of the review is to provide an independent account of law enforcement actions and responses to that day, and to identify lessons learned and best practices to help first responders prepare for and respond to active shooter events, Department spokesperson Anthony Coley said in a press release. This assessment will be fair, transparent, and independent, Coley said, adding that a report will be published upon the review's conclusions. Hack the blue. What a stupid fuck. Come in here and tell me back the blue as I'm getting ready to tell you about how fucking incompetent these cops are. The cops in Uvalde no longer cooperating with the Texas probe of the shooting. The cops are no longer cooperating.
Somewhere else, but not here. But it is happening here.
Mental health experts say trauma comes with a ripple effect, from families grieving their loss of life to many elsewhere grieving their loss of safety.
You may not see these things sort of immediately.
These assholes lied and said they thought all the kids in the room were dead as a reason for why they didn't bust in there and do their fucking jobs. Do you want to know what we found out? There was a little girl on the line with 911 who smeared her classmates' blood on her and was begging for the cops to go in. Begging for the cops to go in. They would not back you, you dumb fuck. They didn't go to they didn't go into the school to save the children. They don't back anybody. They went in there to get their own fucking kids out. They don't care about you. The cops don't give a shit about you. Matter of fact, their job is not to protect you. Courts have ruled multiple times that cops have no duty to protect. Fucking, I don't know how stupid you are that you can come in here and you can see the way the cops responded to children dying, and you can come in here and say, oh, back the blue. You're a dumb motherfucker. You're a complete fucking moron. Cops are fucking useless. Cops will lie even when they have no reason to lie. And as I said, they're not even cooperating with the investigation. The Uvalde Police Department and the Uvalde Independent School District Police Force are no longer cooperating with the Texas Department of Public Safety's investigation into the massacre at Robb Elementary School and the state's review of the law enforcement response, multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News. A spokesman for Texas DPS, which is running the state's investigations, declined to comment. The Uvalde police chief and a spokesperson for the Uvalde Independent School District did not immediately respond to requests for comment from ABC News. According to sources, the decision to stop cooperating occurred soon after the director of DPS, Colonel Stephen McCraw, held a news conference Friday during which he said the delayed police entry into the classroom was the wrong decision and contrary to protocol. So, hold on. The reason why they stopped cooperating is because someone told the truth about them? Fuck you! Fuck you, cops! Fuck off. Remember, the Uvalde community, overwhelmingly Hispanic. Authorities ignore Spanish speakers at the Uvalde press conferences. Texas authorities dealing with the Uvalde school shootings aftermath have so far provided public updates only in English, prompting criticism that many Spanish speakers in the largely Latino community are being excluded. Over 81% of residents in Uvalde, where a gunman killed 19 students and 2 teachers at a school last week, are Latino, and many speak Spanish at home. Providing information in their preferred language is critical during such a trying time, according to experts. I think it's about time and an era where Spanish resources are as important as having those resources in English, said Jennifer Marcial Arcazio, the Spanish at Large board member for the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. Marcial Arcazio said some bilingual journalists covering the shooting have had to interpret for Uvalde residents. Motherfucker. She suggests all governments make providing information in Spanish a top priority in crisis management guidance. DPS South Texas Regional Director Victor Escalon ignored shouted requests from reporters to provide a statement in Spanish at the end of a press conference on Thursday. Police at one point promised to provide Spanish language updates, but didn't follow through, according to journalists at the scene. The motherfucker was just wanting to come in here and get me riled up. Doesn't take much when we're talking about cops and their incompetence, though. Luckily for us, one incompetent cop will not be sworn into a seat in the city council. And I'll smoke to that.
The police department for the Uvalde School District reportedly will not be sworn in tomorrow as a member of the city council as originally planned. That's according to CNN affiliate KSHP.
Good.
CNN's Nick Watt has more on Chief Pete Arredondo and the fallout he's facing.
I do believe that this is absolutely one of the worst police failures in modern U.S. history.
I think somebody yeeted the troll amnestic.
Classrooms had nothing. They were relying on the police.
But the police were waiting outside the classrooms, treating this not as an active shooter, but as a barricaded suspect situation.
For the benefit of hindsight,
useless.
Now, of course it was not the right decision. It was the wrong decision, period. There's no excuse for that.
So the killer was inside a school filled with children for over an hour before he was stopped dead, and not before he murdered Alfredo Garza's daughter, Amory Jo.
They needed to act immediately, you know? There's kids involved, you know.
They were scared. They were real pussy. Did you want to rush in?
Chief Pedro Pete Arredondo of the Uvalde School District, PD.
Safety measures were taken to make sure that we had a safe release for the rest of the district, throughout our city of Uvalde.
A pair of brief appearances in the hours after the slaughter, and Chief Arredondo hasn't been seen by the press since.
As far as his employment status is concerned, that's something that is beyond my control and I have no knowledge about.
Could lives have been saved? Fewer kids shot? Injured kids treated earlier and survived? That remains unclear. There was an initial burst.
Oh, I think so.
A lull during which kids inside called 911, pleading for help. Then more shots, seemingly directed at a door.
We could have saved some of those kids. That's what I believe. You go in.
A 50-year-old Uvalde native, Arredondo was approved as chief by the school board in 2020. At the time, the super said they were impressed by his experience, knowledge, and community involvement with, they said, 27 years in law enforcement. At another school district...
Oh, you missed the troll, Sparkles.
In the city of Uvalde Police Department. In March, Arredondo...
To catch you up, so far we have learned that the Uvalde Police Department will no longer cooperate with authorities because they got their feelings hurt that the Texas Department of Public Safety said they made the wrong decision by not rushing in to save the children. And now the police chief for the school district, this is the school district, the Uvalde School District police chief will now not be sworn in to a seat on the city council. Good.
Posted about active shooter training at the Uvalde High School.
That doctrine requires officers. Every officer lines up, stacks up, goes and finds where those rounds are being fired at and keeps shooting until the subject is dead, period.
So Arredondo's decision went against established active shooter doctrine and, we're told, against the facts on the ground.
It was a hostage situation.
An entry at that as soon as you can.
And Jim, you mentioned that Chief Arredondo was elected earlier in May to the city council in Uvalde. KSAT of San Antonio reports that the special session, the swearing-in session, will not take place tomorrow. The mayor is saying that the focus is going to be on the family. Now, KSAT reporter Dylan Collier also tweeted a statement.
So we don't know. We don't know if he is actually going to be seated on the city council. It just won't be tomorrow.
The oath of office.
Fuck.
To our knowledge, we are currently not aware of any investigation of Mr. Arredondo.
He should be investigated. Goddamn. Let's talk about another one of their lies. Uvalde teacher did not leave the door open that the gunman used to enter Robb Elementary School, according to the teacher's lawyer. So once again, that's the facts as we have it. The lawyer for the teacher says they didn't leave the door open. That has been one of the things that the cops said. Which, why do we have any reason to believe the cops? A teacher at Robb Elementary School had propped open a door to carry food from a car to a classroom last Tuesday, but she closed it after realizing that a gunman was loose and heading toward the school, her San Antonio lawyer stated. Don Flannery said the teacher, who is not being identified out of safety concerns, called 911 to report an accident near the school involving a black truck, which turned out to be driven by gunman Salvador Ramos. Steve McCraw, director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, said Friday that Ramos, a Uvalde High School dropout, fired at nearby funeral home employees after he had crashed the pickup. McCraw said Ramos then walked over to the campus, fired shots from an assault-style rifle at several windows, and entered the building through the open door. Ramos killed 19 students and 2 teachers and injured 17 more. That's something we didn't report on last week. Injured 17 more. McCraw told reporters on Friday that the teacher propped open the door about the time Ramos crashed the truck and that the teacher called 911. McCraw said the door wasn't supposed to be propped open, it was supposed to be locked, and certainly the teacher that went back for her cell phone propped it open again, so that was an access point that the subject used. Flannery said the story he got from his client mostly matches the timeline McCraw gave at a Friday news conference, but the lawyer wants to make clear that the teacher did not leave the door open. She saw the wreck, Flannery said. She ran back inside to get her phone to report the accident. She came back out while on the phone with 911. The men at the funeral home yelled, "He has a gun." She saw him jump the fence, and he had a gun, so she ran back inside. She kicked the rock away when she went back in. She remembers pulling the door closed while telling 911 that he was shooting. She thought the door would lock because the door is always supposed to be locked. Flannery added that the teacher even remembers pulling and holding onto the door, which has a horizontal push bar, while on the phone with 911. At one point, as she headed back to her classroom, the 911 call dropped, and she texted family that the gunman was inside the building, and then that she could hear the police. But still, they didn't kill him for an hour and a half after this. EPS officials did not comment on Tuesday on the teacher's actions or the conflicting scenario given by McCraw. Messages were left for the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District. Law enforcement source familiar with the investigation said surveillance video and audio verifies that the teacher removed the rock, keeping the door open, then closed it. She slammed it shut, said the source, who requested anonymity because the source did not have authority to speak with the media. So now it seems that the cops are backing her story. So where the hell did all of this misinformation come from? Jesus. I'm going to go ahead and give you the content warning. This one's going to be hard to listen to. An 11-year-old is struggling with the aftermath. Maya Carrillo. He's 11 years old, was in the room when 19 of her classmates and 2 of her teachers were killed. Goddamn.
As the sun sets in Uvalde, people gather in the town square to mark the end of a week of unimaginable loss.
Don't worry, we've got BTS at the White House coming. We got fun shit.
The first services for the victims beginning today and continuing tomorrow.
And the trauma experienced by the survivors of last Tuesday's shooting will run deep. Our Marcelina Benito and Anayeli Ruiz are talking to people about the collective sorrow in the town of 16,000.
Our team coverage starts tonight with Anayeli live in Uvalde. Anayeli?
Hey guys, we are outside this school, but today we spoke to a family of an 11-year-old girl who tells us she had to smear blood from her friend just to pretend like she was dead, and now they say she's traumatized and haunted for life.
And he called me right away and said, hey, there's a shooter in the school.
It's a day that changed the life of 11-year-old Mia Cerrillo forever. A day that has left her living in fear.
She actually got to the phone and was calling. She said she kept saying they're in trouble. The shooter is in her classroom.
They tell us Mia witnessed when the shooter killed her teachers and classmates.
When her teacher was blocking the kids, the shooter aimed more that way.
That is when Mia went to a corner to help some of her friends and classmates.
Because they did kill one of her friends that was right next to her. And she tried helping her, she said, but she knew she was gone, so she said she just got her.
No, the NRA just paid to have a conference just right down the fucking road.
Her parents were
help traumatize her even more.
What seemed an eternity for any news. That is until they finally saw their little girl coming out of the school with an officer.
She was covered in blood. Our main concern was, is she okay? Is she hurt?
They tell us Mia was taken to the hospital with bullet fragments in her back, and even though their daughter made it out safely, they feel like their happy, cheerful little girl has been ripped away from them.
And now she's scared. She's scared for her life. Anything sets her off. The cats, the dogs will bark and she'll think, oh, he's here.
And not only was her innocence and happiness taken from
Guy comment, welcome.
She also lost her classmates, teachers.
You missed out on shit that would have pissed you off, and now this is really bumming me out.
Her family tells us Mia is a true survivor. When she was 3,
that poor little girl.